begin. We are live. Let us go.
Hello and welcome to Redo the Line, where you redo the line with a little bit more spunk, and where a writer, a voice actor, and an animator talk and chill with other creative people instead of doing their actual work. I am Joey. I am the writer. I am joined by Lou, Crash Taco, the animator, and Pavle Vasilyevich, or Pavle VA, the voice actor, and another special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
What's up? I'm Andre.
That is beautiful.
I'm a voice actor for mostly animation video games, like Genshin Impact and stuff on Crunchyroll. So,
yay! Yeah. We're starting off good.
Yeah, wonderful.
I'm putting this in my uni server because I was sharing Andre's work to some of my uni friends in Genshin because they're all Genshin simps, and I was like, that's my homie.
This my homie. This
my broski.
This my bro.
But yeah, so we are doing that. So today we are talking about what we normally talk about, which is just not anything, but kind of in the realm of entertainment industry and the things that you do and how to do it and what people's experiences are. And we obviously with Andre that you've got quite
a misery. Let's go.
No.
So let's begin with a little bit of, as we like to call it, the lore segment of your story.
Yes.
Tell us how you got. The lore segment is essentially how you got into it, what inspired you,
industry.
and fun little things and fun little stories that you can eat in digestible little bites.
More behind Andre.
Oh gosh, I feel like I should have a prepared answer for this kind of shit.
Hey, it's casual.
It's a casual. This is like the most casual podcast.
Well, also because my backstory isn't even really that interesting. Like when I was in college, I was tiny little freshman. I was only 17 when I started college, and when I was a huge on like Grand Theft Auto machinimas. For those who don't know, Grand Theft Auto number 5 has like a fantastic way for filmmakers to just do whatever they want with the tools that the game gives them. So
I remember machinimas.
I was like, yo, I could totally be a voice on that, right? So I literally started doing auditions for those little machinimas on my phone. Like I would just whip out my Android phone and record auditions for that, and then from there, I went to the fabled Casting Call Club.
Yes,
fantastic.
Fan projects, lower budget indie stuff. So
We
and
all
from
start.
there, yeah, pretty much.
I haven't.
And I need to do. I know there's like a trend going around where some voice actors will go back to the very first audition they ever submitted compared to like what they would do now with the same copy.
I did that.
Isn't it painful?
Pain.
But in any case, yeah. So I went from my
Couldn't be
phone
me.
to like the USB Yeti, which I still have. I use my.
we love Yetis here.
True.
Unless you're
like
Pavle.
given like just a cheap alternative, it's relatively nice.
Yeah.
And then from there, I think I went pro in like 2017 when I'm like, okay, I need to buy.
You went
an
pro.
actual
Were you
laptop.
drafted? Which team were you drafted for?
Oh, geez. I don't know. What was my first paying gig? I don't even remember. Like, again, a lot of just like indie stuff. And then,
I think that means by that logic, I must have met you when you just started being professional.
Probably. I
That's
think
really
it was
weird.
around that. I
Interesting.
do want to say I recorded for. Oh fuck! What was his name? The character with the scarf around his neck.
Oh, Jay, that's an old character.
Jay, yeah. I want to say I recorded for that on the Yeti, but I have no recollection.
That's such
No,
a
wait,
long time.
no. I was in that one particular apartment, one of my first apartments in LA when I recorded that. I remember.
The LA backstory.
Oh,
Hey.
God. So yeah, for those who don't know, I probably should have mentioned this earlier. I was studying film production in Los Angeles at LMU, which is like one of the, in my opinion, probably the best film school you could ever go to, because the other ones are elitist trash. Sorry, I got something.
Okay.
But a lot of the
Shaking
skills
is
had a lot of
really.
crossover, so I was doing some of that. And then, I graduated, had experience of living in Los Angeles for a year without much support, financially at least. I know I had all my friends and all that, obviously, but finances were really, really big.
Especially in
And I was
LA,
still living
like
with
fucking hell.
Yeah.
It's dreadful.
But yeah, from
terrifying
there,
price.
I really just kind of studied up. And my first like big resume thing was a show called Onyx Equinox, which, like I mentioned, it's a Crunchyroll deal.
Oh shit, I remember that.
Yeah, it's very much on the gory side. So, a content warning, I guess, for excessive gore and stuff. But I did some additional voices on that for a few other episodes, and that's really kind of what kickstarted my IMDb and all that. And then, come 2020 and 2021 is when I really started to take this absolutely seriously. I guess I could technically talk about that. I'm currently being kind of what we call in the industry hip pocketed, meaning that instead of signing you, agencies will just like send you a few auditions every so often and just see how you're doing. But I'm currently hip pocketed by two of the biggest ones in LA right now.
Ooh.
I wasted a lot of money on this Neumann TLM 103, which is like the industry standard. It's like, yeah, it's the brand name. It's half decent, new interface, and then I dropped $1,500 on this booth that I'm standing in right now. But it really is just
You could buy like a cheap
You got
mortgage
ready
with
for
that.
us.
Yeah,
You got ready for us.
Yeah, I mean, it is such a game changer too. And then now I'm just here and I'm cranking out auditions. I was in Genshin Impact. I really hope they bring me back. I know there's supposed to be just kind of rumors in the Genshin fandom, although I try to stay away from the Genshin fandom as best I can.
How did you get into Genshin Impact? Did the agency just hand you auditions?
A lot of it is, you just get like an email, because like oftentimes with voice acting, you'll send out a bunch of information to a bunch of different people, and keeping track of that is, well, not only difficult, but also kind of a waste of time, because if you spend a lot of time, doting on particular casting directors, or hyper focusing on any one audition, you do kind of it's a mess. It's really not worth anyone's time.
Right.
Send and forget.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't afford to dote on it all. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it was basically a deal where they're just like, hey, you booked at this time, this place. So of course, they asked me my availability, but
so sometimes you don't even know what you're recording for. You're just handed the script and like, yeah, all right, let's go.
Yeah, and usually
What voice did I do this for?
Huh?
What voice did I do this for? Like you answer and
exactly.
you're like, what voice did I do this?
And then one day you looked at, oh shit, I'm in this big game or series.
Yeah, because sometimes they won't even tell you till like, the day prior or the day of. You'll walk in and it's just like, hey, so you're in the new Batman Arkham or whatever. And
it's like, oh.
All right.
Yeah, that's kind of my basic backstory. A lot of it comes from just, film school, being a creative professionally, kind of, because I've been an actor for as long as I can remember, so it's just a matter of translating those skills into voice.
Yeah. You've done a pretty good job. I mean, you've come very far from, like, when I first met you, at least.
Yeah,
I don't know you before then.
I mean, a lot of that was just like, producing my own stuff, and I've kind of, as I've been focusing a lot on the business side of things and growing.
Yes,
because as a voice actor, it's not about. Well, I mean, it is about being a good actor, being marketable, being this, blah blah blah. It's not going to be the only source of income. It's not going to be the only thing fulfilling your life, and it's not going to be the one thing that's going to sustain you. And there are some actors who, are self-sustaining or, grow into like, multi-billionaire stars writing, $1 million contracts for this or that. But recently I've been focusing a lot more on producing content, figuring out what content is for me, because a lot of it, you can dive into the algorithm abyss, but
But
there's
you
like
might as well enjoy it, right? Like, and do what you
yeah,
want.
exactly. And if you guys follow June Yoon on
I
Twitter,
do.
June.
I know
We
June.
like
Love the
him.
guy.
everyone loves June, and what
VO
like-
dad.
yeah, pretty much. Like I was watching one of his things, and he talked about content, and he was just like, look, you're going to be producing this. It might as well, come from a place of honesty, and it might as well come from something you want to do. And that really struck a chord with me, and I've just been trying to reshuffle my content, really try new things, because I've been doing mostly just like, stream highlights.
I've seen.
Pull stuff from my Twitch, and but it's not entirely fulfilling. It's more just like an obligation to build an audience, et cetera. But what really, this is kind of just a unique situation. I tried doing the classic like r/reading content, like r/baseball, blah 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 blah. And then I kind of took a step back. Listen, I'm not gonna knock anyone who's doing that kind of content, because I know a lot of commentary channels. I know there's a whole like basis around that, Reddit reading or whatever. But I kind of noticed like the particular content was just inherently negative, and a lot of it was just commiserating of just like the problems that are present within the United States, the current social climate, the current just the way that everything is kind of playing out, not just in the hot topics of of our age, but also just very much a kind of laugh at all the bad things, because all the bad things are everywhere. So recently, and this is more, I've discussed this more heavily on the Patreon side of my socials, is I'm moving towards a type of content that's completely entirely different. Some might call it like a video essay, but I don't really like that. What I've been doing is I've been getting drunk quite frequently and writing anything that comes to mind. Like, I'm sitting down and I'm channeling this energy. I know I sound completely bonkers right now, but please bear with me.
Yeah. I'm like, are you okay?
Listen.
We're strapped in for the ride. Go on.
I've been channeling like the woe is me energy into something more positive. I've been writing just things like, there's this one video I did ages ago that I want to kind of re-emulate, is like 5 things to do to remotivate yourself. And it came from a real place of honesty, and people really, really, really responded well to that, including myself. And I was proud of that. Anytime I would sit down to like watch one of my own Reddit videos, I just, it didn't feel right. It's simply, I've been toying with the notion recently of being the positive change you want to be in the world, and I have so much going on in my head that I want to execute, but I need to make sure all my ducks are in a row first. But anyway, back to the content I was talking about. Basically, what it is I'd be writing this stuff that's very similar to the video I described, where 5 ways to remotivate yourself. In this case, actually, I'll drop a few details on this one. This next one is 5 things to do that build hope, specifically because hope has been a concept I've been struggling with for the past.
This will help your liver.
It's a very
no, give your liver a break. I don't know about that.
It's like it's. I feel like the interesting thing is a lot of this crosses over most of the entertainment industry, whether that's artistry, voice acting, or music. It all kind of mashes together, like it. Because I don't know what it is, but creative people have low sanity. And so a lot of us get easily emotionally distressed and go through. A lot of us are depressed. But that's what makes our content good at the same time. And it depends. Depends where you're writing from.
I see what you're saying. Well, you don't have to be depressed to be
No,
a quote-unquote
not like
real
that.
artist.
Yeah,
Nor is
yeah,
there
yeah.
such thing
It's
as
not a
real artist.
requirement. It's just a common trait among a lot of artists.
It is very common, yes.
If you are happy and healthy, go ahead, be an artist. You can be great. But some of us are sad, and we use that to make art. So, if you can make art whilst happy, more power to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want. That's what I want to do. Is I want to give those particular fuzzy feelings, for lack of a better term. The content, again, like I said, it's very kind of video essay-ish, but again, not really backed up by any concrete fact, unless I'm researching something, because I've got a couple plans down the line that would require that.
Yeah.
Where it would just be, using the medium of voiceover to, slap some stock footage on top of that, move some music on top of that, and really kind of create this atmosphere that, nurtures people, as opposed to kind of fuels the doom scrolling mentality we've really kind of reached. Because I know I'm not the only one.
Oh, he's definitely not the only one.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of... I'm starting to move past the whole, what would you call that? Like, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that is out of our control, but getting in the mindset of controlling the things that I can control, is kind of the place I want to be. And
I vibe with that.
That's a good way to think, yeah.
Yeah, it's rather than, just... And a lot of it does involve failure. And a lot of us take failure very differently. A lot of us have different ways of processing it. But trying new things, because I've got something in the works that some people have actually requested me, especially because it's such like a practice-heavy thing, is ADR dubbing. I know this is kind of out of left field, but this is something this is one of my current endeavors that I'm doing right now. Is because I recently hooked up everything and made audio things happen. So at some point I'm going to be, depending on demand, doing like ADR workshops where you just pitch in a few bucks to like cover studio and engineering stuff, so I can hop in there and like have everyone practice dubbing over footage. And what's funny is we to test that, I have this short film that's very like telenovela like. So basically I was translating and matching the lip flaps with like English words.
Oh, okay.
So it was really fun to go back, revisit that Spanish language film, and dub it over into English, because there's just, I don't know. There's just something about dubbing that's just so much fun. But yeah, that's something I'm floating. And then I don't know if I want to talk about that quite yet, but
yeah, save
the good stuff.
Save the good stuff for when it comes out, and you can talk about it.
Yeah, it's
your own personal
still,
NDA.
Yeah, I mean, it's not under NDA. It's just something that I'm currently developing in the back end. That's just going to, I guess, hit the presses at some point or another, just depending on how cash flow works, and legalities involving like 1099s and just tax shit. It's because I'm really leaning into the be the change you want to be in the world. Yeah. Specifically when it comes to no, I'm not going to say that bit, but especially the general notion of like employers abusing their power to be shitty to employees because they have that power, and because they fail to check themselves. Creating a space to have employees and people working in your employ have a relaxed environment. And what's interesting is still, even if you're in a relaxed company, like even if your employer buys beer pong tables, puts them in your office, it is still important to differentiate work life from home life. So anyway, there's just a lot going on in my head regarding that, and I'll kind of leave this off by saying, it's like If you don't like the employees out there, become the employer. So
Yeah, that is good.
Yes.
That's some good advice.
As a wise man once said, who snapped his fingers and wiped out half the universe, I'll do it
my
myself.
No!
No.
Oh, no.
No! Come on! We're not supposed to promote genocide on this podcast. Jesus!
No.
We were in such
It was
a good
reversed.
place, and we took
No,
up
listen,
the
it was
turn.
it was reversed.
It was just
But, like,
fair, you know, guys. It was fair.
Spoilers.
No, but
It was
like
fair, guys. Come on! It wasn't even like.
the quote works. I'll do it myself. Fine, I'll do it myself.
You can take that quote from like anything.
Yeah, but that's the most well known.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my fucking.
So
you had to bring
I was gonna
Thanos
say,
quote.
first about the ADR stuff, I quite like that idea. First of all, because a lot of people now want ADR experience, and having a place to get that is very nice.
Yeah.
And another thing when it comes to creation that you talked before, I just remembered a talk I had with a friend, which it was kind of an event where I explained that I have a passion for creation and trying to turn a lot of things and create a creative outlet I can use to get this creativity out of me, which leaves me in a place where I start a project and leave it for another project and have a lot of projects just not complete. How do you deal with that?
So this might ruffle some feathers, but especially
controversial.
not in the sense it's just like a lot of just addressing some truths here. The main thing that I would want to kind of look into would be the entire goal of the production. You know, whether this was something small for fun, whether this was something you just like want to get out of your head and metaphorically vomit onto the internet.
Gross if you literally popped it onto all over the cables.
Oh no.
Or, you know, even the final form, which would be whoa, my gain was this low the entire time. Is this better?
Yeah,
It was good
you were
before.
Good. You were good.
It's fine.
Okay,
before,
for sure. No.
Now you're a bit louder. Good.
So, or the final goal being, you know, this is a portfolio piece. This is something that's going to be flagship, you know, for profit or not. So identifying the first step would be to identify these goals. You know, can I scrap this project entirely and let go, or is this a goal that I want and or need to achieve? And then this is where, you know, the elbow grease comes in. And it does suck. Believe me. I hate finishing a project. I mean, the process getting to it, finishing it is amazing. Hitting that upload button after several months of recuts, rewrites. You can't do this, so please cut this out.
Hey, Andre, we can't say rewrites here because someone will get offended and upset.
Oh my gosh. Oh no. I'm sorry, writers. I'm sorry. But yeah.
Joey, I'm looking
You're in
at
a
Joey
safe
specifically.
space. You're in a safe space. I won't get angry.
He had to rewrite
In any case, so identifying the goal. Can you let go of this without guilt? Or maybe people don't know about it, or maybe this, or maybe that. Or is this something you need to just push out, get out there, and just have it be done, whether it's portfolio or whether it's just something you need to finish up? And really putting in the work to get there. Because, again, you can, depending on where you're sitting, just toss it. Just toss it entirely, shelve it, whatever. You know, it's a whatever
I love
project.
shelving things.
Yeah, but if it does bother you that it would be shelved, or people are waiting on it, or this or that, a lot of it is just sitting down and doing the work. And this can look very different for all sorts of people. My personal method is setting smaller goals, building to something bigger. Because a lot of times when I was working on like more artistic projects that weren't specifically tied to deadlines or paperwork or whatnot, I wouldn't make any lists. I would just sit in the editing bay, just bang it all out, boom. But what's really reassuring is once you take that and break it down into particular tasks that you can check off and see your progress as you go. At least this could be just how my brain works. This doesn't necessarily need to be how your brain works. But what I find to be helpful is really tracking that progress and seeing that progress bar move.
Yeah.
Another thing I've noticed about a lot of these projects too is like, waiting on someone who you were depending on, who maybe like had to dip for a while. And I want to kind of put out there that people like that, it's okay. Like I used to be, before I even went to film school, especially, I used to be the kind of director who would, like, in a sense, fetishize directors who, would do anything for their vision, anything to get the piece of media across. Like, look, life takes priority in every single circumstance. I mean, it's obviously different if they're intentionally ghosting you, and that's an entirely different story. But you have to start from a place of understanding. You never know what could be happening. They could have been attending to a family member who
exactly.
Who was gotten sick or had an injury of some kind. They could be processing a death. They could be doing something entirely different. They could be processing something else.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into it, and being a director involves that level of understanding and knowing that there is a way around everything that isn't fucking steamrolling your crew. So I don't know where I was going with that, but
it makes sense.
We're doing great today.
You were going somewhere. You'll reach it eventually. Keep going.
If you were going to put something out into the world that it will A, bother you if it shelves, and B, bother other people that it wasn't released, sitting down, doing the work, categorizing it so you can see that progress bar and seeing it make its way there, the struggle will be, I can't say it'd be worth it, but in the end, you will have a finished product. I don't know if that answered your question, but let me know.
It does. And that's some great advice. Thank you.
I mean, in terms of finishing projects, well, I say don't force yourself to finish it if you really start to hate it, in my opinion.
Right. And that's what I'm saying when it comes to, like, just if you can part with it without feeling any guilt, toss it. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think even if you feel the initial guilt, you can get over it. Like, we all know that I have a particular one.
Oh, for sure.
I
think most of us were there.
Yeah, most of us were there, except for Pablo. Anyway, I had an old project, but we don't even say his name.
Yeah.
The cost was...
That shall not be named.
Difficult to handle, and not you. You're fine. You handle things professionally.
Yeah.
As he burps.
Shining example of
professionalism right there.
Professional.
But that project,
employee of the week.
It was a very it was a very hard project because it started as a passion project and then it became the subject of hatred because it just wasn't worth it. It was so much work. It was falling
apart. And it's no longer a passion project, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I felt awful giving up on it because it was a series I really liked making, and then I kind of came to terms with it. And learning from that dumpster fire, I made something good.
Good, yeah.
You use
failure is the best way to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Failed. I may have failed at that project, but that meant my next project was good. And I feel like it's commonly agreed that the most recent project I've done, because I'm comparing, yes, I'm going to say its name, Mars and Friends to Lovers in Crime. Mars and Friends walked so Lovers in Crime could run.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not the best, but it finished. It was finished, and I'm happy with it. And you learn from every project you do, even if your project gets better.
For sure.
The next one will always be better.
Yes.
But yeah, it's okay. In my opinion, I think you can absolutely get over the guilt of not finishing a project because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're the one making it. Unless you're being paid to do it, which that's a different thing. If you're getting paid, you need to finish it. You got to finish it if you're getting paid.
It's a job then.
But if you're not getting paid to do it and it's off your own back, I don't think you should feel any guilt.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, it's your thing and you're making the effort and you're not being paid for it. So when it's not a passion project, just end it. Axe it. Trust me. It's healthier for you. It's healthier. But I don't know. I love passion projects, though. I think a lot of them don't get finished, obviously. And that's okay.
Sometimes you gotta take it out back and just bury it in the yard. You know?
Just chuck it in the dumpster.
Ask them to count the rabbits. Tell you a little story.
No.
You know, mice and men.
Yep. I remember that.
Tell me about the bunny rabbits manuscript. Well, there's going to be the story about these bunny rabbits. Okay, keep going.
I mean,
Yeah.
I gotta say, though, I have such admiration for people who start passion projects, though. It's like effort to start. Some people have ideas, and a lot of people are afraid to actually act on those ideas because they're like, oh, I'm not gonna have enough time or anything. And those are fair reasons to not start projects.
Yeah.
But people who do, I don't know. I have a lot of respect for that because, as I do with a lot of passion projects, they're hard to do, and if you can maintain them.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, also, once you dip your toes in the more professional world, like that's when it gets scary. And, you know, a lot of it stems from, you know, depending on how much budget you have. And it kind of mutates from, you know, hey, this is a pretty cool idea to like, oh, is this
marketable?
Is this marketable? Is this financially viable? You know, who's getting paid? Who are the stars running the not the leaderboard? Jeez. But yeah, who is promoting it? How is this going to be profitable? How am I going to keep the lights on? That's when it really, you know, changes. And the sad part is you see so many success stories of, you know, for example, Superman was pitched so many times until DC, I think it was DC who took a chance on them and they blew the hell up. You have to understand, and this might be more of American culture as opposed to any other country, is you have to understand that these success stories that they pine to you, that they show you, are
so far
luck.
Between. Yeah.
Or 1 in a million.
Yeah.
Exactly. And just working hard is not going to make your show successful. It's not.
That's the sad reality.
It's not
like,
going to guarantee it.
Exactly.
That's the thing. It's because you have so many feel-good stories from American outlets, from that very hyper-individual. You know, fuck it. I'm saying the hyper-individualist attitudes here, where it's like, you know, that you know, if you just work hard enough, you'll get there.
That's only half of it.
It really is.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just luck. It's who you know.
Yeah, it's who you
Hashtag
know.
girl boss. Exactly. Yes. The girl boss meme is just yeah. That is. This is America. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
It's like,
America number one.
for example, you know that a
Oh,
lot of
hey,
people
I'm a real voice actor. Yo, that's so radical. Sorry, I just got a very popular voiceover scam in my inbox just a couple seconds ago. So that's how I know I'm a real voice talent.
Wow. Yeah, I was gonna say, for example, when it comes to YouTube, let's take that. A lot of people go to big YouTubers and say, "Oh, what can I do? How do I grow my audience?" And when it comes to that, it's the same thing as this. 99% of it's luck, and the only thing they can do is just put out work, because if you work hard and consistent, that gives you more chances to strike that lucky oil well. And get the success you're looking for.
Or in
So
some cases,
it's hard
you
work
see
needs
something.
luck.
Go on. Or in some cases, you see like,
Go on.
hey, the algorithm's doing something. Let's abuse it and like milk it.
Yeah.
And then you just and then you get people like, I don't know,
Spider-Man
Like
and Elsa
Mr.
content.
yeah, Spider-Man and Elsa content, Minecraft YouTubers that are like the most recent ones, and also like I don't know, some other people. I haven't been watching YouTube for a very long time, but like, yeah, it's a lot of luck, and like some people like with this luck are like, yeah, I wanted this for the passion and all that, and are like baffled by their extreme success that they suddenly have.
Yeah.
And then others are like, I knew this was going to happen. This was all calculated in my head. This was planned out.
I mean, it's because you can do it the hard way. Well, both of them are pretty difficult, but like you can calculate it. You just need to understand the algorithm. That's shitloads of hours of research, and
it's
and
also
it's still
not
luck.
just
It's still
that.
luck, actually.
It's keeping multiple fires going in different ovens, because I'm not just doing voiceover. I'm doing Twitch. I'm doing YouTube. I'm doing TikTok/Instagram. I am an audio engineer at a startup company. I'm
Same.
freelancing, just sound editing in general for animation, video games, whatever. But what else I got? I got these ADR workshops coming up that I'm going to kind of keep in a relatively close circle. You have to be invited to that. But I mean, all of you here obviously are. But in any case,
Thank you.
there's so much that I'm doing, because putting what's the phrase? Putting all your eggs in one basket.
All your eggs
Yeah.
in one basket. Yeah.
I hate that
Exactly.
phrase. I'm going to throw it out of my vocabulary. If you focus all your energy onto one thing, you're going to burn yourself out. You are going to die. You are going to pass away.
Fucking
You are
hell.
going to video game, okay?
Okay, a lot of people need to hear that though.
You're gonna lose passion. You're gonna
Yep.
feel sad, and then you're gonna die.
Yes, your bodily functions will cease.
You will just cease. You just like
Yes.
Control Z.
Or perish.
You
God.
will blink, and then you'll see the pearly gates up in front of you.
Who says you're going to heaven?
What?
The point being is having a whole life is incredibly important. And I didn't even mention D&D.
Oh, we're gonna get into that
Right.
conversation.
Yeah.
That went for like
Yes.
20 minutes in the last
Well,
Two
podcast.
episodes in a row.
No. What I'm saying is,
Let's keep this straight going.
I'm not gonna be a paid DM. I know for my Patreon rewards, like at some point, if we have enough people, we'll start a D&D game. But I'm not actively selling a service that has me join your game and DM it. Because some things, and especially when it comes to creative things, depending what you choose, keep that unmonetized. Keep that bit pure. Because once you get into the rhythm of being a professional anything, you're not just doing that thing. You're doing that thing, but it's marketable. You're doing that thing, but it's profitable. So you kind of bastardize it until it becomes something entirely different, whether you have a good relationship with it or not. And when it comes to DMing, I am keeping that shit entirely separate from, direct charges, direct marketing. I want to make sure that it's fun for me and it's fun for my players, and I can stop thinking about everything else. There's a reason why they call it fantasy,
It's an escape from reality.
Oh,
Yeah,
but I love how
exactly.
in D&D you can just go off the rails and do whatever you want in some games.
Don't be that you can do random shit. Do not derail my quest, or I will drop a Tarask on the entire party.
Oh,
and will
you
I
should
love
have
doing
seen
that.
Joey
I dare
was-
you to do it.
Joey was suffering when he was DMing for me and
No.
my mate's game. It was so funny.
It was
Both of us
fun,
just
though.
wanted to do whatever we wanted. Like KFC was a religion. My
Wendy's
character,
was a deity.
I seduced a goblin. That was pretty cool.
What?
You know, like
Milk was essentially alcohol.
sometimes derailing, or in some cases with certain types of DMs. If in my case, if you do something that I haven't planned for, I'll follow that more than I'll follow my own story because I'm like, hey,
you got it at
this
that
is-
point.
this is my favorite thing now. We're going to talk about Gobbo the Goblin or Philip not a goblin, and he's going to sell you some poison shit. And then you're going to go kill the king. I don't know what you're going to do. I'm going to follow that storyline.
Yeah.
Will you fight a
legit
dragon? I don't know. Will you fight like a zombie prostitute? I don't know, but we'll
No,
find
we
out.
don't fight her. The quest is for her.
Oh,
I say
that's
that
essentially
through
what
my
it became.
character possessing me. But
That's essentially it.
the thing is with I like how even though it was an unhinged game, the dynamic between myself and my friends' characters works so fucking well. Because you have like this horny, like not depressed, but like crybaby man, and this stoic sort of like calculating guy, and they're like best friends, and it just works so well.
That's so good. I love
It was wild. I didn't have the thing. The secret is you don't. If you're gonna play with new players, don't have a plan. Like you have a
yeah.
plan,
Yeah.
have an idea, have the
Yeah.
world, but don't have a plan. Like don't be like this is what like. Be like, hey, you can go left or you could go right. What's right? I don't know, a dragon maybe. On the left or the town. You might meet a nice grandma. If you go into the forest off the road, I don't know, maybe a lion will attack you out of nowhere. We'll find out. Maybe you'll meet a fairy. You'll be transporting to another dimension. Have
Are you
Alice
still
in
salty about the
Wonderland kind of
grandma thing?
thing. No,
I love your
no,
improvisation.
that was funny. I really liked it.
Oh man.
Um,
But yeah, that's the whole bit. I mean, also with my notes, I tend to just like build out the world and maybe just write a loose plot outline of kind of where I want to be. But
If you're like stuck in one location for very periods of long time, and then you're like, "Hey, my players have been in this town for like 2 sessions straight, trying to solve this problem that they see and I don't." And like they see, they're like, "Oh,
That hurts.
the socioeconomic situation of this kingdom is quite in dire straits. You know what we need? Communism. And you know what I'll do?
Hell yeah.
I'll insert
Oh.
a few nobles who are like, you know what? Communal wages and everyone having universal stuff is pretty good idea. And then you'll have like the antagonist who's like the king or something who will be like, no,
Elon
capitalism.
Musk.
Yeah, essentially. King Elongus Muscus. I don't something like
Longest
that.
Musket.
Yes.
Damn,
But-
this is
Oh
a game that needs to be
God.
played.
I want to play this. What is this?
And anyway, but like one of the things is like one of the players in Lou's thing was like, "Hey, I'm a druid, but I have a deity, and it is Wendy's, the mascot, Wendy's from the burger joint, Wendy's." And I'm like, "Okay, that is like a secret cult thing. It's like very
That is
unknown."
certainly a
Oh my
choice.
And so I'm like, "Okay."
No, but like you know what's even
Wendy's
better?
the deity.
The kind of like you know like how people have like prayer items and stuff. The prayer items was the fucking Wendy's loyalty card.
Ah.
It was amazing.
It was so
And like
funny.
Wendy is a sassy deity. And then like I thought, what are the big churches or what are the big deities? And I thought, well, KFC, there's KFC, there's
That was my
there's
religion,
Burger
because I love
King,
KFC.
McDonald's. There's KFC, McDonald's, and then I had an idea in the back of my head. It was like Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box is like a secret cult, like Satanism. Like people who eat Jack in the Box, they are like the lowest of the low, or they're nicest people because Jack in the Box is a fair place.
I've never
to
been
eat.
there.
I
That's
like
an
Jack in the
American
Box.
one. I mean, Wendy's is as
Oh, yeah.
well. I actually haven't been to
Wait, which one's
Wendy's.
American?
Jack in the Box
Jack
and
in the Box.
Wendy's.
Stop.
Yeah, I've never
really?
been there.
I've never been there.
How
Damn.
could you?
I've been
How
like to
could you?
McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, nothing else.
I
know what?
love KFC.
It's just also Jack in the Box is like they're not even subtle about it. They know they're stoner food almost exclusively. They got just like a variety of just a bunch of like dumb but good shit. You can just grab at like 1 a.m. I mean, I did that all the time in Los Angeles. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. I mean, I
That food
think.
is pretty
Whereabouts
good.
did you live in Los Angeles, if you don't mind me asking?
I spent some time, well, of course, at the university, which is like near Culver City area, and then I lived in Inglewood, which is just east of there, and then for the longest time after that, when I think it was because wages were going down because of COVID, I couldn't afford rent anymore.
Ooh.
And one of my friends offered me a place over in North Hollywood. So for those who don't know, LA is kind of comprised of three parts. You have North Hollywood, Burbank, Simi Valley, which is like the northern part, and then it's separated by a mountain range, which has Universal Studios and the Hollywood sign. And then south of that is Hollywood proper, and then downtown LA, that kind of area.
Okay, so
and
rich,
then
dodgy, and
further-
okay.
Rich, dodgy, and okay.
And then
All right.
further east is like Orange County, more yeehaw, but still part of LA County. But yeah, I lived like that was very much an urban lifestyle, but also it was interesting to see the difference between like the bigger city and then moving up to North Hollywood, which is kind of like more suburban, which was interesting, like kind of feeling the difference. But what was also great is I was only 30 minutes from the big voiceover studios, which occasionally if I was grabbing lunch after work or something like that, I would like just drive by them and just be like, oh look, that's so cool. One of these days I'll record there if I actually hit my demo and stop.
Insert every voice
Hear about
actor
it.
ever who lives in LA.
Yeah,
You saw the
funny,
chart I
though.
made.
yeah, it's really funny though, because like once I moved out of there, or rather, I was kind of scooped out of there by my partner's family. I just been scooping, brought me out here to Arizona. But once that stressor was removed, I started becoming astronomically more succanimal, and it was really interesting to see the
That
difference.
is crazy.
Because
That's wild.
one of my biggest insecurities was like, oh, is my performance in my animation demo like good? I was like constantly agonizing over it. I tried to write and self-produce a few demos, but I just wasn't satisfied. I wasn't confident. And I forget if it was like, no, I used my tax refund to get a professionally done demo reel by David Sobolov, who is just this absolute sweetheart, one of the awesomest people in the industry. And I got a demo with him. And then from there, like we still like text back and forth occasionally. And because of the demo that he made for me, and because of the confidence I got out of that, and I'm still, I wasn't in LA. I submitted for a bunch of rosters. I submitted for a bunch of agencies, and then of their own accord, two of the biggest agencies reached out to me.
I think
And
I kind of got a half question.
yeah.
Because I feel like I know the answer to this one.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that you feel worse about yourself in LA because you are literally surrounded by the best of the best, and it's also expensive as shit there?
Yeah, I don't know if I was intimidated. I was more it's more of that feeling you get when you look up at a mountain you're about to climb and you're like, oh fuck.
You're just trying to survive, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of LA is just learning the ins and outs of how to survive, and that could take years.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
And
LA is so expensive, though. I mean, like,
you have to have a job that you love that pays crazy amounts.
it needs to
and
justify you living there.
Exactly. And like, you have to be there for certain jobs and stuff. And it's
I mean, some people find it completely justifiable to live there, and like, even if they are finding it hard, they're like, yeah, well,
I mean,
this is
if
worth
it's
it.
for a work thing and they're paying you adequately, like it would be fine. But the fact that I was on, this the survival track, because that's like one of the first things you do is learning how to survive, and I was still like applying for other jobs because I didn't want to work retail forever. And I kept looking around, I kept applying, I kept asking around, and it was just such a slog. And especially when it came to voiceover, it was just exhausting. I would get home from my retail job and I would submit a few auditions, but it was very difficult. And what was crazy too is I was rooming with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And in both situations, it was very much of like I couldn't audition when I needed to when I was in the right headspace. Like even if I told them, like, hey, I need to audition or do this or do that, they were still moving around and stuff because other people are existing in the same space. And what I used to do is this is mostly when I moved to North Hollywood. I would get up at 5 a.m.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, assuming I didn't have a
Impressive.
shift. Assuming I didn't have a shift at like 5 a.m.
Oh, that's so early. Jesus.
Yeah, and I would just record, and I had a long-term semi-narration project that I was working on too. So that was also paying a lot of the bills, which was great, but it was so much work to record, like maybe 1 or 2 chapters in just like from like 5 to 7 or 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And then just do what I had to do. And then sometimes I would need to go into work that day or this or that. And it really just sucks the life out of you. And the really fucked up part is I miss it.
Really?
You do?
I genuinely do. And also
Stockholm
just because
syndrome.
Yeah, it really is.
But really, it's going to be one of those things. When you miss it when you're away, but when you're there, you're like, fuck this.
That was a plot twist.
But kind of going back to my newfound confidence, especially just considering how much I've grown since then. I haven't really talked to anyone about this. Like, if I get more auditions, if I move back to LA, because it's not just auditions, and agents will sometimes, be interacting with casting directors, heard you for one audition. They'll be like, oh, hey, we need you for this project right here. And you don't even have to audition. You're just like, oh, okay. You just show up and boom. But yeah, I mean, I want to say, it's the fact that I have this newfound confidence, this new kind of basis, but at the end of the day, there's definitely an underlying unhealthy obsession with I guess being there. I'm trying to formulate the words for it because there's two kind of warring things of, I've changed, I can do this, versus I really, really, really want to be a voice actor and I am willing to cuck myself to get there. You know what I mean?
That is like most voice actors, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think what's really painful, I like as an outside viewer of voice actors, I'm like an observer. I have many, many voice actor friends, and the problems are exactly the same. There is little differences, and it is really sad because they're not easily solvable problems by any means, but it's sad that no one's really thought of it's very common that people feel this way. Like, it's so common. You can almost guarantee every voice actor feels this way. And it shouldn't be that way, at least. I don't think it's as easy as said, but...
It's
like part of the culture now, almost.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm like also like booking stuff on the side. So sorry if you hear typing or something, because I'm always on the clock.
That's okay. That's okay. Keep it up.
Fundamentally, I don't, because the way that voiceover is structured, of course, there's always going to be some sort of systematic disadvantage to, you know, whatever segment you're a part of, whether or not you're auditioning, where you're located. There's so many factors that go into it, and really the casting directors and people involved can only do so much, because intrinsically it's a difficult thing to do, and it's a very volatile career, and that's even with, you know, systemic problems aside, it inherently is very difficult. So like, finding the biggest thing you need to do is find a place where you belong. And I'm talking, you know, just auditioning isn't going to cut it.
Yeah.
Doing something else that maybe is voiceover adjacent or voiceover involved, or something that genuinely makes
just
you
a
feel
hobby
good.
that makes you happy.
I'm not talking about hobbies. I'm talking about your creative endeavors that fuel you on the side. And I'm talking maybe more a bit like flagship pieces and blah, blah, blah. But I think regardless, because like this current situation is, you need to find something that additional to voiceover Jason, that helps you. For me, it's Twitch. I've been doing a lot of Twitch stuff recently, but fundamentally changing the economic landscape would really be quite the advantage to people surviving, because being in a position where, you know, it's sink or swim, you do the thing that completely exhausts you in order to keep a roof over your head, it's not sustainable. And I know, like, this, when it comes to this is something, you know, that will take decades to maybe even move in a direction that would, you know, like really fix things.
Absolutely.
And this, you know, this all falls on, you know, economists, politicians, etc., people we can't rely on. But removing, I'm going to dip a little bit into economic policy here, and just kind of generally what, at least what would be advantageous is creating a system where surviving the basic fundamental needs of human beings, which is in economics is called inelastic demand, need to be addressed, because internalizing the idea that you need to exhaust yourself and damage yourself in order to possibly, maybe, earn the privilege to eat, to have a roof over your head, is, for lack of a better word, is fucking ridiculous. Creating a system where we can address basic survival things to reduce that desperation and that exhaustion is going to be, it's not just going to benefit voice actors, it's going to benefit everyone. And especially once you flip the relationship between the worker and the employer, where, you know, I saw this great Onion article where it's like, the biggest mistake you can make in a job interview is make it clear to the employer that you're a human being who deserves basic human decency. But creating the relationship where employers have to make it incredibly enticing for people to join their company to really swap it up so that, if you're having a hard time at work where it's a condition like your manager is being really shitty to you, the hours are not great, you're not being paid enough to, do the basic thing. In this instance, you can just quit without any consequence. So I know I went kind of off the rails there a little bit, but I just, when it comes to basic survival stuff, people need to eat, and that's not going to change. People need shelter. That's not going to change. People need to drink water. That's not going to change. Addressing these needs, especially in a landscape of LA, where it's very much just sink or swim, It's hitting the baseline where a lot of that hopelessness is generated is, not going to just benefit actors, benefit people who are in a very difficult line of work, but also just benefit everyone. So
that is very true.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like you've done a lot of research on this.
I try not to doom scroll so much, but it happens. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's fine.
All good.
Everyone does it once in a while, so it's
all you can do is try and avoid it. But with that, I think we've got to wrap up now because it is now 10 o'clock.
Roger that. It is 2 p.m. in the U.S. of A.
It is 10 o'clock at night in the UK.
11 here.
4 p.m. in Florida.
So, do you want to conclude it, lads? Anyone?
Well,
Before we wrap it up, where can we find you?
Oh, so yeah, I mean, my biggest thing
promote your
is
stuff.
Twitch.tv is like where I'm usually at. So it's just Andre Luke Martins here. Let me just type it in chat. I don't know if will it allow links? Let's find out. Yes. Well, it's not really a link, but I don't care. So it's twitch.tv/Andre Luke Martins. There's a missing E in there because a lot of social media, there's apparently another.
It's not Martinez? Was it Martins? The whole time?
No. It's Martinez. It's just the handle is missing an E because for some reason on one particular platform it wouldn't allow me an E. So I'm like, all right, you know what? It's going to be uniform. I don't care.
Okay.
But you can find me there. I'm streaming today in about 2 hours. We're doing some Jackbox stuff.
Ooh.
And then Fridays and Saturdays are standard video game days. Friday we're playing Phasmophobia because a new map just dropped, and then Saturday is the final scary month D&D one shot I'm DMing. And again, that's the whole schedule's on the Twitch page, and there's like a little fancy like gadget that converts it to your specific time zone. I'm also, if you want to find me everywhere else, I recently got one of those fancy like the beacons link. You know those ones that's like all the links in one place.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure that's the right spot. Yeah, so beacons.ai/ same handle, Andre Luke Martins. That's all my other stuff. So like Patreon, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, the whole shebang. Of course, my voiceover side is there. So if you want to hear my demos, that's there as well. So yeah, that's me. That's me. Yeah.
All right.
well,
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
thank you for having me.
has been Redo the Line, where, as I said before in the beginning, a writer, an animator, and an actor talk to other people and talk to each other instead of doing their work.
Mostly about suffering.
And talking about suffering and like
And how you can not
all
suffer
that,
and make your life less suffering.
and all that. We talk casually and we do everything other than our work. Thank you for